Hi, Team Positive VIP members. It is Karen Murphy here, coming to you with our week 3 and our next episode of our VIP Hope series. We're bringing you some incredible, real life-changing stories of what Nrf2 Activation has done for all sorts of people with their health and chronic issues in their life. If you are watching, drop a 1 if you're watching live, or drop a 2 if you're watching the replay. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. Our VIP group is growing rapidly and we are so excited to be sharing this information with you. Hey Ken, I hope you've had a wonderful day. Thanks for watching live. I'm just about to invite my amazing friend Janelle James to be interviewed tonight. Hi Rosemary, thanks for watching live. It's great to see you on here. Now Janelle I've known for just over 2 years and she is a dead set legend. I love this lady. Me and her have created a wonderful bond together through this business journey. Me and her, we have a lot of fun. We always joke, sometimes pick on each other, but more than anything, we always support each other. She's my go-to, I'm her go-to, and I'm just so privileged that she's taking the time out of her busy schedule, because she always has her plate full, and to share her incredible story. So Janelle is a mum of 2 and her background is different. I've got to tell you, it's an interesting one. So I'm going to invite her on and we'll get her interview started. Thanks for excited to be doing this interview with Janelle tonight. Here we go, we're connecting. Yay! There we
Hi.
go. Hey! Woohoo! Success!
We're good.
All right. So if you're watching, guys, please say hello, give a lot of support. I haven't actually interviewed Janelle before, which I only just realized. We do a lot of work on Facebook. Janelle does a lot of live videos. So this is really exciting. I'm excited. So Janelle, can you first start by sharing a little bit about your background, maybe what it is that you do or you've done for work, and a little bit about your health journey and your health background?
Yeah, so background is mainly admin work and driving trucks. They go well together, don't they? So I used to actually drive trucks in coal mining. I did that for 5 years before having kids, and I loved doing that, but my health declined by doing that. But before that, I was in like admin jobs and basically membership organizations and those sorts of things. So I deal with members of different organizations. But yeah, then got out of all that sort of stuff and went into truck driving. So it was a big flip for me to do that. But that's when my health started declining. So night shifts, 12-hour days, sitting on your bum for that long. You know, you could do 10 hours on the clock driving around in those trucks and sitting there that long started taking its toll on me. And I used to have a bad back, a bad lower back, but it got worse when I drove trucks, purely because you're sitting for so long. And so that was one of the things where my health, you know, in my health background, it was something that I could never get away from. It either got worse, and if I exercised, it got worse again. It would flare up and inflammation would happen. But then there were other things. You know, I had open heart surgery at the age of 3. So that was a big thing for obviously a family, well, my family, my mum and dad and my sisters and stuff at that age. But yeah, then as time went on, I was healthy, happy little girl, and until the back issues, and then I started getting fatigued a lot, you know, more so when I was driving trucks. And this is where I didn't know at the time, and I'll go into this a bit more, but this is where sleep issues and adrenal fatigue happened. So at the time, I didn't know the correlation between sitting on your bottom for so long and being stagnant and not having an active lifestyle, what that was doing to me. And my health was declining. So over the years, I've gone to naturopaths and those sort of different people to see how I could help myself, because I was feeling a lot more fatigued. I was someone who would take a long time to go to sleep at night. And then when I get up in the morning, I would be yawning, rubbing my eyes and dragging myself out of bed for at least 30 minutes, just purely going, oh my God, do I have to get up now? because I just didn't want to get up. And that shows, like, I now know that that shows that I wasn't getting deep enough sleep, you know, because if you're not going to bed right on time and then you're getting up and you're still feeling fatigued, you're obviously not getting enough sleep, really, even though you feel asleep, you're not getting enough deeper sleep. So then by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would have those slumps like most mums or most females do. Our body starts to shut down. And so by 3 o'clock, I'd be falling asleep on the couch. And at the time, because I had 2 little girls at home with me, at this time, Sienna was 3, Zoe was 2. So I just thought that was mum life. I thought that was just the way that life was, and just took it as being a young mum, this is what happens, you know. So it wasn't until after that and until Nrf2 activation that I realized that it was adrenal fatigue. And that's basically where your adrenals start to shut down, and your adrenals run everything. You know, they are a hormone that your body needs a lot of. And if it's not in balance and if it's not working properly, it is fatigued and your body breaks down and you start to get very fatigued from that. But also things like exercise. So I gave up exercise because I got so sore, and I would do one workout and I'd be sore for nearly a whole week. Now that shows my body wasn't recovering properly, but it also showed that obviously the adrenal fatigue was coming into play, because the fatigue that was coming with exercise, I was like, I can't exercise because for 2 days later, I feel like absolute hell. And then for nearly a whole week later, I'm still sore. Like, what's going on here? So I gave up exercise. And so that, not only that, but colds and flus, you know, I used to have a bad immunity. I'd have a cold, it would last for a week or 2. And I'm like, this is not normal either, you know, but I just took all of this as just normal life issues from a mid-20s onwards. You know, I didn't think of this as something that was such a big deal. And I used to also have rosacea on my face. So rosacea is like broken capillaries, dry spots. It's a skin issue similar to, you know, eczema and psoriasis, same sort of family, you could say, but a bit different. But they're basically some of the health issues and health background I had. Sorry, Karen, I went way into that, but yeah, they're the main ones.
That's awesome. And thanks, Jill, for watching, and Bridget, she can relate to the 3 p.m. slump as well. Hey, Patty, I just see everyone jumping on. Thanks, guys, for watching live. So there was actually like a lot of warning signs that your health wasn't very good. But I think a lot of people just learn to live with it and expect that that's how you should feel and just deal with it.
Yeah.
So then you have obviously heard about Nrf2 activation. So when and how did you hear about it?
So it was basically in June of 2015. We had moved to the Sunshine Coast that February. We'd gone from living near Yeppoon, you could say, Rockhampton area we were living, and we moved to the Sunshine Coast for family reasons and those sorts of things. But I knew that my girls were getting old enough that I wanted to do something financially for myself, or have something as a hobby or an interest at least, or a passion for something when my girls were asleep or they're happily playing and all that sort of stuff. And so I went looking for different home businesses. I was out there looking for things to do from home, but I also knew that I needed help with my health. And I've always been a massive or had a lot of passion for health. You know, I thought about becoming like a nurse or a carer or something in nutrition, because I love food. Like, food is my life. So I was basically out there looking for things like that I could do from home. But, you know, studying a lot takes away from kids, or high-end job hours, 9 to 5 hours or longer than that. You know, if you're in nutrition world, or if you're in the, you know, nursing and all that sort of stuff, you've got shift work. And I knew I didn't want to go back to shift work, because I knew what it was doing to me and causing me so much fatigue from driving trucks and what that did with fatigue. And so I didn't want to go back to that. So I was out there looking for all these home businesses, and then this Facebook post came up and it said something about an information session with nutraceuticals. And I had no idea what nutraceuticals were at that time. And I was like, I'm going to Google this. And when you Google it, it says any food component used for medicinal purposes through a dietary supplement. And I was like, okay, that sounds all right, because to me, a dietary supplement is something that is food, but it's also a natural compound. And I've always been more natural focused than medications and things. And so I'm like, I'm going to go along to that, because not only is it something they said you can do from home, but it was nutraceuticals, and that sparked something in me. So like all these things were lining up and aligning for me. And I went along to this random house and turned up to this meeting. And then from that, they were talking about oxidative stress. And we know now oxidative stress is the root cause to nearly all diseases and conditions. And it was only a few years earlier than that that my father-in-law had passed away from motor neurone disease. And no one knew why he even got it, because he was a very healthy guy, but he had no white blood cells, which means that your body's got no immunity basically. But he wasn't sick. And then all of a sudden he got very sick and very quickly, and then passed away. And that was on the list that they gave me at this information session, that motor neurone disease had this huge link to oxidative stress, and that it could have been the root cause for that. And that's when I was like, that's why I'm here. You know, oh my goodness, this is why I'm here, because this bit of paper that told me something that our family had been looking for, just stood out to me. And so that's when I was like, Nrf2 activation, or Nrf2 activation, has to be in my life, and it's come to me for a reason. So I'm gonna, that's how I heard about it. I'm gonna go in and see what else I can find out about this. That was basically it. A Facebook post.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So that was a few years ago. And what did you think when you first heard about it? It sounds like you were pretty excited.
Well, I had no idea what oxidative stress was. No one does. Well, no one, you know, unless you're in that sort of line of work, no one really does. And so I went and did my own research for about 3 days. And I kept thinking to myself, if they're talking about this Nrf2 activation and they're talking about oxidative stress, none of us have ever heard of it. Why are we not hearing about this from medical professionals? And that was my first thought. But then I was like, you know what? I actually feel like that this could be a household name product, and that this could be something that if these people are here talking about it, and they showed me something that blew my mind, you know, with the motor neurone side of things with oxidative stress, why wouldn't I want to tell other people about that as well? So this sounds pretty good. So that's when, but I was also still skeptical at that stage. But because I was out there consciously looking for something to do from home, and this sparked a few of those things for me that I was looking for, it really did tick a lot of boxes, but I was still skeptical. So I went home and literally had my iPad, and nothing else was allowed to be in my area for 3 days. And I just looked and searched, and basically on YouTube looked up the scientist, Dr. Joe McCord, who, you know, the big renowned scientist of free radical biology. I looked him up to see what all of this was about, and did so much research on that. And then and I'm someone, I couldn't talk about a product or talk about Nrf2 activation unless I knew enough about it. So for me, it was like, I need to know this right now. And if I don't know it right now, I'm going to find out right now. So that was basically, that's how I heard about it.
Awesome. So you were still kind of making up your mind about it. So then what made you decided to get started on Nrf2 activation?
It was the science and the credibility. So if you looked up Dr. Joe McCord, he's won an Elliott Crescent Medal for his research, 40 years of research in the biology world for free radicals, and what he discovered the body can do around that sort of thing. So because I was out there looking for other home businesses or other products, even just for myself, you know, personal use, that sort of thing. When I was looking, nothing resonated with me, because I didn't have enough evidence behind what they were saying or behind these products they were promoting and those sorts of things. And so when I went out there and I researched this Nrf2 activation, and that this scientist created this product around that, I was like, oh my goodness, the fact that it's also on PubMed, which is the National Library of Medicine for the National Institute of Health in the USA. And I was like, why do people not know about this? But that credibility and that science was what blew my mind. And that's where I started to align with this. I was just like, you know what, if I can really see the science like other people are, and there were people in the room talking to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just go do my own research still. And, you know, but it was still that credibility and I'm not a medical person, but I could still understand some of what I was reading or watching and those sorts of things around cells and health, and because I love all that anyway. So it just made sense to me. It aligned with me, and it really made me like a gut feeling that this was what I needed to do. So the credibility in the science was huge.
Yes, awesome. That's similar to me. When I saw it, it was like, yeah, this is the real deal. There's just so much validation behind it. And it's been so exciting, everything that's come out since then. So then you've gotten started, and when did you notice your first results? Because everyone's different, we know that. So when did you notice for you?
Oh, that's true. And I usually tell people, you know, you may not notice anything for the first 4 months, but 3 weeks I noticed. And this shows that there was something going on in my body, because the first 2 weeks I had shocking sleep. It was obviously like a detox phase. I had shocking sleep. I had restless days. But then from then on, at 3 weeks, as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was asleep. As soon as I was awake, I was up and ready to go. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I've never felt like this. And then my energy in the day, you know, I was running around with my kids again. And at 3 o'clock, I was like, is it 3 o'clock? I can't, what? Like, you know, I couldn't believe it was 3 o'clock, and I didn't feel that fatigue start to come on, you know, that real, where you get that low energy at that time of day. I looked at the clock and was like, oh, far out. This is amazing. You know, I'm still going, and nothing was pulling me down or making me want to sit on the couch and fall asleep. And so they were the biggest things at 3 weeks. There was, the sleep, the energy, and just realizing I was probably sleeping deeper, because I wouldn't have had so much energy in the day, and I wouldn't have woken up so fresh and revived if I wasn't having a deeper sleep. So obviously that all comes down to deeper sleep.
Yes, excellent. And I know that you're not alone. I personally had very similar results, which is really exciting. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. And there's a lot of people who have no idea that what they're going through, you know, it doesn't have to be normal. They can get their life back and not have that slump at the midday. So that's really, really exciting. Hey, Tanya, thanks for watching. Yes, the science is so awesome. You can get definitely just wrapped up in all of that. Okay, well, is there anything else that you have noticed since being Nrf2 activated and reducing your oxidative stress?
Oh, yes.
All right,
go through the whole list.
Yep, the whole list. I'd love to know.
How long do we have? No, so obviously, like I said, the sleep, the energy, that still happens. You know, I've been on this Nrf2 activation now for 2.5 years, and I still wake up refreshed and ready to go. I still go to, like, as soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm asleep. And at 3 o'clock, I'm still going, and I'm still going at 10 o'clock at night. But I've got to be careful of that, because when you have adrenal fatigue, you've really got to listen to your body, and you're meant to. The body clock shuts itself down, especially the adrenal hormones start to shut down at 10 p.m. at night. So I have to make sure that I'm going to bed around that time to manage my adrenals. Otherwise, if I don't, and I start going to bed, 10:30, 11 o'clock continuously for a few nights, that's when I get that fatigue back. And I know it's the adrenals now, and just that adrenal fatigue. I can listen to my body now and know that that's something where I've got to go to bed earlier for a few nights to catch up, or I have to do something about that in the day by having a cat nap or something. But I do really notice that if I go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, everything else is perfect, you know, throughout the day. So the other thing is better moods, and I'm not as cranky or snappy in the day. So I've always been someone with quite a short fuse and really low patience. But since Nrf2 activation, my patience level has expanded massively, and I don't have those snappy moods anymore. It feels like I can control my moods a lot more. So little things don't worry me as much, you know, or little things that used to make me so hot-headed don't do that anymore. And so that's a really big one for me, and it's a really big one for my kids. They don't have to have a snappy mum anymore, you know. And then the other one is obviously that lower back pain. I don't ever get lower back pain anymore unless I've been sitting for a long time. Our family lives in New South Wales, some of our family, and if we are sitting for 8 hours in the car for a long drive, I get lower back pain. That's, you know, that's normal. But I don't have any of that inflammation in the lower back anymore, which is incredible for me, because I used to have it, constantly through certain weeks in the month and that sort of thing. But the other thing is, less hair falling out and shinier hair. My hairdresser even said today, look how shiny your hair is, she was saying. And so that's been a big one. But the other one is colds and flus. So I can get a cold or a flu now that lasts for a day or two, and that's it. Like, I never get anything more than that. Usually I might even use Nrf2 activation twice a day to help the immunity at the time when I'm feeling a bit lacking immunity or a bit low or a bit like something's coming on, like a cold or flu is coming on, then I'll up my Nrf2 activation. What else have I got there? So, and better recovery from exercise. That's huge for me. So I've gone back to exercising, and now I'm only sore for that 2 to 3 days, which is what it's meant to be. And I'm not as sore either. I'm actually, my body's recovering better. It's repairing itself more. And this is huge for me, because I used to hate exercise because exercise was it was more of a burden, and it was something I didn't enjoy because of how it made me feel afterwards. I'd feel fatigued. I'd actually feel, very run down for many days. And like I said, I'd be sore for a long time. So I was like, what is the point in this, But because I've had open heart surgery, I always wanted to look after my fitness, or cardio and my heart, those sorts of things. So, of course, you want to do some exercise, but I just had to give it up. So, and obviously as well, this one was pointed out to me by one of my amazing business partners and best friends, was the scar down my chest from my open heart surgery is not as pink anymore. And I'm like, what? And she showed me some photos, and I was like, oh my goodness. You look in some of my photos, even go to Facebook and look at my photos and look back at some, and you'll see that the scar down my chest now is a lot less dominant or prominent, whatever you want to say. It's not there as much. It's faded, and it more looks skin tone like the rest of my skin. And that is due to, the scar tissue being reduced. We know that Nrf2 activation reduces scar tissue. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But it's something I didn't pick up, and she picked up. So I'm really glad that she did, because it's something that and this is something I say to everyone. If you've got issues, or if you feel like things are normal but they don't feel right, write them down, because when you start Nrf2 activation, you can then track all of this stuff. That's why I can tell you this. I've got a list here of what I can tell you, because once you can track it, you may not feel things on a daily basis every day that you're feeling 100% amazing, but you go back and look at your list and you think, oh, that shoulder's not as sore anymore, or I forgot about that foot pain, those sorts of things. And my partner notices stuff like that every now and then. He's like, yeah, that shoulder doesn't hurt anymore at all, so that's a big one as well, but that's for him, obviously. But that's probably it. Thanks, Karen.
Is that all? Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that's literally been so life-changing. And I know for someone as a mum with 2 young girls who are at home with you, even just the energy that you've been able to gain back, like that alone is life-changing. But then all these other things, you've been able to enjoy the gym again, and things you didn't even realize. That's amazing. Okay, so we're about to finish up, but I just want to see if you've got any last message. If there's anyone who's watching this and would like to get started on Nrf2 activation but aren't too sure, what would you say to them?
Oh, so I'm a big advocate for mums, especially because I used to think that being a fatigued, low energy mum was normal. So now, if mum's not healthy, and if mum's not at her optimal health and her highest quality of life, how can she expect the rest of the family to be that? So I know that oxidative stress affects everyone, and every person, every animal, your dog, your cat, your horse, everyone has oxidative stress. So I highly recommend that anyone does Nrf2 activation for themselves. But my biggest advocate is those mums, because that was me. I thought that my normal was everyone's normal. And if you think that some things that I've said are things that are affecting you, and you're not at your optimal health, and you're not at your highest quality of life, we all want better quality of life, right? And if you're reducing oxidative stress, you can absolutely have a better quality of life. And so my message to you is, why would you not want to try that for yourself and your family. And looking after mum first looks after the rest of the family. That's that domino effect. So get out there, take a diary or a journal of, if you are trying this, take your journal and write things down that you want or hope that it can improve for you. And just give it a go, because you just don't know how this could affect you and impact yourself and your family. You know, give it to your husband or your partner, or and if you're seeing results, why wouldn't you want to tell other people about it as well? So you know, all my family members are on this product, because as if I wouldn't want them to be on it, since knowing my own results and realizing, like, this is one of my biggest messages, is go and find out what oxidative stress is. And if you've got a condition or a disease or an ailment of some sort, I bet you can see a correlation or a link to oxidative stress with that condition. So go and look that up for yourself. But highly recommend that if you're thinking about this, or you're consciously going, I wonder what that would do for me, just try it. 4 months, 6 months, whatever, just give it a go, and you will no doubt have those benefits like I do, and that big list I've got written here that improves over time. And that wasn't overnight. As I said, I've been on this for 2 years. So give yourself time. Natural products take a lot longer, but the body can put itself back into balance and heal itself again if you give it time to. So thank you, Karen. That's my message to everyone.
Fantastic message. Thank you so much, Janelle. So if you're watching and you do want any information on our favorite Nrf2 activation, just drop something in the comments and we will be in touch with you. But thank you very much, everyone who has taken the time to watch this. And we will be back again next week for our next live Hope Series interview. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Thanks, Janelle. Bye, everyone.
Bye.